Project Management Insights, providing project managers with professional development in the interpersonal skills areas of leadership, team building, and communication. Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about contingency. So what is contingency? Well, it should be an additional amount of funds set aside for use in exceptional circumstances. And notice that I said the word exceptional. It should be allocated to the overall budget as a separate cost in the financials of your business case. And contingency should be held separate to the allocated budget for completion of your project as per your business case and business requirements. So it's an allocated amount of funding that you determine, and quite often it will be a percentage of the overall budget for your project that's worked out once you've developed your business requirements and written up your business case. When you develop your financials as part of your business case, you have an allocated amount that's set aside that is known as contingency. And it's like an additional bucket of money that's only used for exceptional circumstances. So this leads me to ask the question, well, how should you access contingency? Contingency should only be accessed by submitting a request to your project control board. Oftentimes what I notice is the contingency fund is put into the overall bucket of financial amount that you have for your project. And project managers will have something come up where there's a cost that was unexpected, so they just go and dip into their contingency in order to cover that cost. And that's not the way that contingency should be used. The contingency fund is only for use if you have an agreement from your project control board that they are okay with you using some of the contingency for a change or something that has happened out of the blue in your project. And it's important that the project control board approve it because they need to understand that that money is being drawn down and spent. You should not be using your contingency as a basic fund without gaining this approval. Your contingency should be used, the use of it should be justified using a one-page brief similar to a change request. This means that you need to justify and put forward why you should be given approval from your project control board to draw down those funds. And this needs to be a solid case. It's like a mini business case for why the funds need to be drawn down. You need to explain why this change to your costing for your project has occurred. Is it a change request, a formal change request type thing, that scenario that's happened where something is being delivered that wasn't expected to be delivered, or that the cost is going to be more because it's going to be done in a different way? In the long run, it's going to give extra benefits, as an example. You need to explain fully why you want the money, why you want the contingency funds, why you want to be able to draw down the contingency funds. And only once your project control board approval has been given should that specific amount, the approved amount, be released from contingency and included in the project's working budget. So notice that what I'm talking about here is that your contingency should stay in a separate fund, and it's only when you have your project control board approval that the contingency money then becomes a part of your overall project budget and the spend is allowed to occur. oftentimes this doesn't occur this way, and the contingency is drawn down as a normal part, or often the contingency is included as a normal part of the project budget, and therefore it's drawn down as if it is standard project budget, and this is not the purpose of it. It's an additional amount of money, not part of the standard project budget. And if the work is carried out and not all of the X contingency funds are used, then the unused portions should be returned to the contingency fund. Again, this is like an additional bucket. You've been given a particular portion of it for a specific task. If it's not all used, then it goes back into the overall contingency fund. This is proper governance and proper management of the funds for your project. And if the contingency is treated as a special and separate budget item, a separate budget bucket, then it needs to be treated in that way should it not be used as you're expecting it to be used. Now, here this leads me to how should contingency not be used. So the allocated and approved contingency amount should not be given to the project manager and added into the general project fund bucket. This is a huge no-no, and it's what I've seen a number of times, and it's the wrong way to use a contingency allocation. Contingency is only for exceptional circumstances, and it's not part of an overall budget allocation funding. A project manager should not consider the contingency amount as part of their budget amount just to spend as they wish, and just to spend if something comes up over allocated of overspend, then the contingency should not just be dipped into. If this happens, then you've got a problem with the way that your financials have been done for your project. And if you're finding that you need to go to your contingency fund often, then it's really important to pause your project and go back to recalculate your business case financials, because it means that you have a problem with the way that you've calculated your business case financials. Your business case financials are not a true financial estimate of what it's going to cost to complete your project, and so you need to go back to square one and redefine your business case financials rather than simply dipping into your contingency fund. It's not the way that it needs to be done. And contingency should not be used without your project control board approval. This is really important. You must have a rigorous process around the allocation and approval of any amount to come out of the contingency allocation and be used as part of your overall or standard project funding. As I said, this is really good project governance, and it's the only way that contingency should be allowed to be drawn down and made a part of your overall project budget. So the thing here is to consider contingency as your emergency fund. Notice emergency, it's only for those exceptional circumstances where something has happened out of the blue, not expected, and it can be substantiated. Then that is the way to be able to dip into your contingency funding. So follow these steps and you'll find that at the end of your project, what you have is a responsible use of your project budget, and that will prove itself in that you have allocated your funding or developed your project financials from your business case, and your funding will be very, very close to that, and your contingency will not be drawn down other than for exceptional circumstances, which is what is true and the way that contingency should really be used. Until next time. Thank you for listening to this Project Management Insights podcast. Be sure to visit projectmanagementinsight.com and sign up for our monthly newsletter or to receive updates on upcoming training.